If you believe that you're a difficult person and no one would really want to be with you, you'll probably find that you're single. If you believe that all that health stuff is just for other people, you'll probably find you're unhealthy. And what I'm saying to you, what I'm proposing to you, and what I want you to seriously consider is it's not that you eat unhealthy. It's not that you're difficult or complicated. It's that you have a belief about who you are that isn't real. And we all have them, but this is how you change them. Welcome back to the Mike Posner podcast. This episode is about turning thoughts to things, the law of attraction, manifestation, and miracles. When I was 18, I got an internship at a hip-hop radio station in Detroit. And one of my coworkers was named Patrick. And Patrick was best friends with this other guy named Sean. And word on the street was Sean knew Kanye West. After a few weeks, Patrick introduced me to Sean. And Sean and I became friends. He would come over my parents' house, and I had a little setup where I could make beats and record music. And I started producing tracks for Sean. And Sean and I became friends. And his relationship with Kanye West was always kind of an elephant in the room. But basically, Sean knew Kanye, and Kanye was interested in Sean's music. Sean made music like me. But he hadn't signed him or formalized that interest in any way. They were courting one another musically. I got into Duke University, and Sean got a scholarship to Michigan State University. You're the same age. Kanye told Sean, don't go to Michigan State. You're going to be a rapper. No one told me not to go to Duke, so I went. This story sort of stalls now for a year. I continue to make music in my dorm room. Sean continues to make music in Detroit. And nothing really happens for a year and a half. And then Sean calls me. And I'll never forget, I'm walking on West Campus in Duke University with Gothic architecture looming over me and oak trees, willow trees swaying in the wind. And as I press my first generation BlackBerry against my cheek, I hear Sean's voice, steeped in Detroit slang, tell me, my deal is finalized. I got a record deal. And indeed, after a few years of courtship, Kanye and good music and Island Def Jam signed my friend, Sean, who you now know as Big Sean, to a record deal, to a major label. Now, prior to this phone call, I believed getting a record deal was a 1 in a million thing. I didn't believe it could happen for me. I knew I loved making music, but I always sort of assumed that I would have a desk job and maybe even a job at a record label. And then I would go home at night and make beats and have fun and have a hobby called music. But Sean's life changed all that, because here was this guy who I was used to freestyling with in my mom's basement, and we make music together. And I always felt our skill level was comparable. If anything, I thought I was the best because hip hop was competitive and I thought I was better than everybody. And so here was this guy, my friend, who just went and made this, what I thought was a 1 in a million chance thing, happen. He did it. It was real. Something shifted inside me before I pushed end on that first generation BlackBerry. And what shifted was my mind. And this is where this story gets fun. Because I believe that a life is made up of habits. And habits are made up of actions repeated over time. And actions are dictated by beliefs. And beliefs are just thoughts repeated over time. So my belief was getting a record deal is 1 in a million. Then I had that phone call, and my belief shifted to, I am going to get a record deal also. I didn't try to shift it. It sort of just shifted on its own. Sean's real life which was dictated by his thoughts that turned into his beliefs, that turned into his actions, that turned into his habits, that made his life, shifted my belief structure. And now what happens? I'm at Duke University, and suddenly I have this new belief. No one else can see this belief. No one else can see this shift inside me. Just me. And so, because I have this new belief, I'm going to get a record deal. I start acting differently. When the other kids go out to party at 10 p.m. and they're out till 2, that's my sweet spot to record because the dorms are quiet. And just like I'm whispering into this microphone, I'm able to sing and make music. So I stop going to parties and I start making a lot more music. Because I knew I was now on this treasure hunt, my belief was solidified. I start driving to other cities just for the chance to have a meeting with a guy who might know another guy who knows a producer that I'm a fan of. Before the phone call, doing something like that would seem like a giant waste of time. After the phone call with Sean, where my belief shifted, doing something like that seemed like an open door that I should run towards. So you could see how shifting this belief is now shifting my actions. And I just keep doing those actions. So now I have new habits. And eight months after Sean's phone call, my phone rings again. And it isn't Sean, and it isn't my mom checking on me. And it isn't one of my buddies badgering me for not going out to whatever party. It's my manager that I've just hired. And he says to me, you got to go to New York. Jay-Z wants to meet you. Now, I plan on telling this part of the story in depth on another episode, so I won't go into details, but that meeting ends with me receiving an offer for a record deal. And I don't receive just one. I receive offers from other record labels as well. And so 8 months with this new belief, and the belief has turned into reality. So we could bring spirituality into this or leave it all the way out. Let's leave it all the way out for the time being and just say, gosh, it makes sense that I notice what I'm looking for. And if I'm looking for the ways that this record deal is going to manifest and unfold into my life experience, I'll notice those things. And I'll seize those opportunities. And I'll walk through those open doors. And those open doors will occur to me as opportunities instead of wastes of time. So now the question is, because these are just fun stories, who cares about a fun story? I care about you changing your life. Now the question is, okay, how do I change my beliefs? Because I don't have a big Sean, Mike. No one in my life is that example, and you're telling me in your story your belief just shifted on its own when Sean gave you that call that day. And that's a good question. That's the question you should be asking. Well, as it turns out, there are ways to shift your own beliefs. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because these are actionable items. And first, I want you to think about an area where you have a limiting belief. And if you want to find a limiting belief and you're having trouble doing so, just look at your real life, because your life is a printout of your beliefs. And you might say some nice words, but what you really believe is shown in your life. If you believe that you're a difficult person and no one would really want to be with you, you'll probably find that you're single. If you believe that you could never eat properly and that's all that health stuff is just for other people, you'll probably find you're unhealthy. And what I'm saying to you, what I'm proposing to you, and what I want you to seriously consider is it's not that you eat unhealthy. It's not that you're difficult or complicated. It's that you have a belief about who you are that isn't real. And we all have them. But this is how you change them. Technique number 1, brainwashing. Now, that word probably brings up some not so nice connotations in your mind, but we're going to talk about you brainwashing yourself, literally washing your brain. And once you do so, we need to put in the beliefs that you want that are going to propel your life forward in the direction that you want. So one of the ways that I've done this in my life is with a journal. In a journal, I will literally write the same sentence over and over and over again, 15 times per day. And as I do so, I put as much emotion into it as I can. I put as much feeling into it as I can. And after I write it 15 times, I read it back with as much emotion as I can. And let me tell you, the first time you do this, you feel like an idiot. You feel stupid because it doesn't feel real. And you're going to think, what the heck is Mike Posner talking about, man? Like this whole like reading the thing over and over. It's crazy. But after a few days, something magical happens. You can start to see this version of yourself where this statement is true. And so let me give you a real example of this. In 2019, I did a project, or I was going to attempt to do a project where I would attempt to walk across the United States of America. I knew this journey was going to test me to the limits. I knew something would go wrong. I knew I needed to have my mind right. And I needed to believe that I would be successful. So I'd take this notebook out and I'd write, I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what. Next line, I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what. Period. I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what. I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what. I, Mike Posner, comma. And as I repeated this, I started to see visions of myself diving into the Pacific Ocean, having finished the journey already. I felt the feeling bubble up and cascade through my cells of celebration, of pride, of jubilation. I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what. Not only that, I started to envision how I would react when things went wrong because I knew there would be challenges along the way. I saw myself, if I broke my leg, I would heal and I would keep going no matter what. I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what. I, comma, Mike Posner, comma, will walk across America no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. Every day. You do that for a week, you would change that damn belief. Because you're changing your thoughts. And after you change that belief, your actions will naturally change. And if you repeat those actions, you'll find you have new habits. And once you have new habits, you have a whole new life. So if you're going through hell, as always, I got 2 words for you. Keep going.